In the iconic Mafia film The Godfather, the powerful Corleone family ruled over the criminal underworld with an iron fist. Don Vito Corleone had built a billion-dollar empire and his influence expanded from New York to Sicily. However, after being taken off guard, the Don was taken down, and we all know what happened next. And so, after years' worth of work and negotiations, the heir of the Corleone family had returned and had no intentions to just sit back and watch the empire crumble. Although a college student and a hero, Michael throws away his initial intentions of living a normal life, a safe and legal life, away from his criminal family, in which he used to look down upon. Now, he was entering the world he had only been a spectator to. He was now becoming the man he once despised. However, his experience in Sicily and the events he experienced and witnessed had finally made him comprehend this world and the true nature and importance of power. In one of the most tactically and cunningly brilliant moves the Mafia had ever seen, Michael Corleone, within 24 hours had taken out all his enemies and certified his position as the most powerful boss in the country. And with such astonishing and simply an unbelievably tactical move, I'm sure we are left with more questions than answers. For example, why didn't the families retaliate? Why didn't anyone oppose Michael's claim to power? Also, was Michael truly the one who had orchestrated such a plan all by himself? Didn't Sonny have a similar idea in the beginning in the film? And I'm sure you have a lot more. And that's exactly what we'll answer in this video, so if you're a true Godfather fan, or just simply curious, get ready because a lot of these aspects will shock you. One of the main reasons Vito made the peace deal was the fact word had gotten out to him that Barzini's people in Sicily were beginning to uncover Michael's trail, and his cover was not going to last for long. Therefore, Vito needed to work fast and by any means necessary, ensure he could organize Michael's return before Barzini's men get to him first. After a year of organizing, negotiations, and intense and detailed preparation, Vito was able to get someone to take the fall for the whole Captain McCluskey and Salazzo incident. And so finally, the heir of the Corleone Empire had returned. For the next 3 years he would learn under the guidance of Don Vito and Tom Hagen every aspect of running the empire, in which once having access to the Corleone secrets, he was even shocked at the family's strength. Michael knew his father was a genius and had a lot of connections and assets, but was simply astonished at the true power of his father and the family. Finally, he had truly understood what his father had built. Especially now he had been to Sicily and experienced and witnessed the sorts of circumstances Vito had survived. Therefore, Michael's entire perception of Vito had completely changed.
Barzini's dead. So is Philip Tattaglia, Mo Green, Stracci, Cuneo.
So, why was it necessary to take out these families? Especially after making peace and everything seemed to be going smoothly. Well, to begin with, the Corleone family was in the worst position it had ever been in. Instead of being the ones controlling everything, being the ones calling the shots, they were the ones on the back foot, and had to acquiesce to the will of the other families. They were losing territory, the respect of their soldiers, and the entire criminal underworld were under the impression that the Corleone family was swiftly heading towards its downfall.
Won't they take that as a sign of weakness?
It is a sign of weakness.
Especially after the powerful Don had to basically surrender and do what he was told. It seemed that the Corleone era had come to a close. However, as we find out, Vito and Michael were just buying time to reclaim their rightful place in the Mafia. This was no more than a tactical retreat.
Today I settle all family business.
Under the guidance of Don Vito and extensive planning, Michael was ready to take his revenge.
Now listen, whoever comes to you with this Barzini meeting, he's a traitor. Don't forget that.
After understanding how they will come at him, nothing was left to do but set forth the plans into motion. The time had finally come. After a meeting had been scheduled with Barzini, through the traitor Tessio, it had begun, and within 24 hours, Michael had taken out all those who opposed him.
Michael Francis Rizzi, do you renounce Satan?
What very few know is the fact that Michael was not the sole orchestrator of this plot. In fact, it had been in the works for years. In the novel, when Vito assembled his inner circle and began briefing them on the upcoming changes that were to take place, he privately talks to Tom, ordering him to tap the phone lines of Clemenza and Tessio, ensuring he received the monthly phone logs of both phone calls made and received. Even though he makes it clear he does not suspect them and fully trusts their loyalty, however, he saw it necessary to have as much information as possible. By the end of the conversation, Tom concluded that all these actions were hinting that within the Don's mind, a far-reaching and complex plan was being initiated, and made seem that a sort of day of reckoning was to unravel in the future, but he did not even dare ask the Don, and the Don did not explicitly mention it or seemed willing to answer such questions. So, with the fact this conversation occurred prior to even Michael's return from Sicily, it's clear that Don Vito had begun preparing some sort of plan for revenge. Even though Vito swore that he would not break the peace, Michael had no intention to surrender and stand by while they had almost destroyed his family, costing him his older brother Sonny and wife Apollonia, who was actually pregnant.
What about Sonny? What about Sicily?
I swore that I would never break the peace.
You gave your word that you wouldn't break the peace. I didn't give mine. You don't have to have any part in it. I take all responsibility.
Michael assured Vito that there was nothing he could do to stop what was coming next, so with the inevitability of revenge, Vito guided Michael and helped orchestrate this cunning and ambitious plot. It's also important to mention that the first member of the Corleone family to have some sort of intention to take out the other families at once was actually Santino Corleone. It's true that he had discussed the possibility of taking out the other families in such a manner, however he definitely could not have been able to skillfully to execute such a plan by himself, but he still deserves some credit on his way of thinking, in which is something consistent with what Vito would have taught him. But with all that being said, Michael is the one who truly was behind this move. Yes, he had help, and wasn't the first to come up with the idea, however he is the one who managed to actually pull it off, and had the heart and focus to successfully consolidate his power as the new Don of the Mafia, almost surpassing his father, the legendary Don Vito Corleone. Well, to put it simply, they essentially swapped sides and surrendered to Michael's rules. After Michael had extraordinarily orchestrated the downfall of the other Dons, the remaining capo regimes in those families knew that their former Dons truly underestimated Michael's strategic and tactical brilliance. They now understood that facing a man that was able to outwit and outmaneuver those highly experienced and intelligent Dons was someone who should not be trifled with. And getting into conflict with him seemed to be a sure way to their grave, and so took the smarter approach and sided with Michael so that they could survive. Even if they would still resent him and maybe even feel ashamed of not having avenged their Dons, it didn't matter, and that's the brilliance of Michael. The fear and aura he emitted was so powerful that it would be extremely foolish to oppose him. They saw an opportunity to rebuild and not have to constantly fight, putting their own interests above some sort of code of loyalty. We do see later on some consequences of Michael's action, with the whole Hyman Roth. However, Michael still somehow managed to come out on top. It actually took Michael another 12 months to completely reclaim control and end the chaos within the criminal underworlds. And once he had reclaimed the Corleone throne, he was now the most powerful figure in the United States. The wiping out of the 5 families and some other key events played a huge role in his transformation, and was his first step into becoming the most ruthless mafia boss the criminal underworld had ever seen. In the next video, we go into Michael's transformation from hero to villain. He eventually became his own worst nightmare.
That's my family, Kay. It's not me. Don't tell me you're innocent. Because it insults my intelligence. It makes me very angry.
Thank you for joining the Culture Mafia.